If you did not know how to get somewhere, what would you do? And I sit with this question relatively often, mostly when I'm navigating through what I call like a fire or like a difficult time in my life. In my world, a fire is meant to evoke transformation. It's meant to shift something from one state to another, so to speak. And it often feels just like it freaking sounds, right? So if you've been listening to my podcast episodes, or if you sit down and have a conversation with me and we get really deep into it, one of the things I'd probably share with you is that I was homeless at 22. Looking back, I see that as being one of the biggest fires of my life, one of the biggest opportunities for transformation. You know, what does a fire do? It consumes, it burns away, and it allows space for something completely new to be birthed. I would say it often comes with what I consider emotions that are uncomfortable and what most people would say are difficult to get through. And I want to stress that sentence: emotions that are difficult to get through. I view all of emotional spaces as experiences for us to get through. They are meant to offer us medicine for the whatever experience they come up in, right? So say I'm maybe dealing with a difficult client or a difficult person in the line at the grocery store. Maybe I get a little bit uncomfortable. You know, maybe that uncomfortability is meant to teach me how to draw a boundary, or how to self-care, or how to redirect, or how to learn how to offer support for myself in that moment. Because I also believe that, well, there's this quote I heard recently that I so resonated with, and definitely kind of hits the head on everything that I already believe. And it is that the locus of control is within, right? So anything that is external is only meant to reflect back to us things that we can shift internally, because there's no control. We have no control. We're born. There's things that happen through our journey of living, and then we perish at some point. And those are the only two promises. If you're in this reality and listening to this podcast, those are the only two things that are promised: that you're going to be born, and then one day you're not going to be on this plane anymore of existence, right? Anything else that happens in between that space is merely part of the experience and the experiment, rather, of being a human being. So back to fires and transformation and difficult emotions and them being spaces to get through. I know that when I was younger, I didn't view things like that, right? And I will share, and I'm pretty sure I shared on other episodes that I had battled, I don't want to say battled. Let me rephrase. Words are very much incantation. So I danced with, I will say, depression, and I danced with anxiety. Sometimes these things pop back up on my radar very, very minutely, I will say. And that is because I have learned what medicine they have to offer, and I've taken in those lessons and been able to apply them into my life, such that I've developed structure around how to handle different emotional spaces, right? And maybe you've done that too in your life. Maybe you're not yet there. Maybe you're just starting to uncover and discern what the emotional spaces mean, how they feel within your body, what medicine they're meant to bring you, how you're meant to structure your life. Maybe you're just starting to dive into emotional intelligence. And if you are, there will be some links in the description that will point you down the path a little bit more. Medicine, in this context, is something that is meant to help us grow, to help us get closer to full healing and full embodiment of what it means to be a human, as well as what it means to embody unconditional love. And if you hear me talk, if we get into a conversation, it will also come up that I am an advocate of embodiment. I love supporting events that focus on the embodiment of human, and the understanding that really is what the point of life is just full embodiment, full integration of all your parts, of all your being, and to really, be able to ground deep within this vessel that we're only gifted for a limited time. And I'd like to also say that I think in the grand scheme of things, we're only here for a blip. One, as a human base, and as, the experience of human that we've been able to catalog and uncover through history and the study of our great planet Earth, as well as the fact that if you look at how long the world and the planet have been around, it's billions and billions of years is what they've been able to discern through science, right? Through the study of minerals and artifacts on this planet Earth, as well as other hypotheses that they've been able to prove to be theories and yada wada wada. I'm not going to get into that. The basis of me just bringing that kind of in is that we're not here that long. You know, if you live like 90 years, you really aren't here that long. You're not. In comparison to if you put 90 out of 70,000 bazillion years, like you're here for a fraction of the, not even a fraction, you're probably here for like not even like a decimal point if you really look at it, you know? So the journey is embodiment while we're here on this planet, and that looks like many things to many different people. So my question is like, how do you get somewhere you've never been? How do you get to full embodiment if we were born and some of us on this planet weren't taught full embodiment? Perhaps you grew up in a household where you were taught the opposite. You were taught to remove yourself from your body, and you're one of the folks that lives in the ether, and you're a high sensitive being, and you're able to really be intuitive and all these different beautiful, wonderful things. And also it's difficult for you to be in your body. It's difficult for you to feel your feet on the floor. Maybe you're one of the folks on this planet, or you maybe know some of the folks on this planet who have chosen to numb out through various vices, right? How do we get collectively to somewhere we've never yet been? So physically, maybe I want to navigate to my favorite vegan restaurant, which presently it's a spot called Noble Vegetarian. I literally just went there yesterday, had the most amazing drumsticks, and was treated to a Thai iced tea by one of my favorite server friends there, which totally melted my heart. That's a whole different tangent. But what if I did not know how to get there? How would I learn how to get there? So in the physical sense, I would pop open my phone and use whatever my favorite navigation software is, right? If it were a little bit before, you know, cell phones were able to do that, I would pop out a map, or I would, you know, if the online navigation services had been created, I would go over there. Or, you know, if it was way back when, I would ask someone who I knew who had been there, and I would ask them for their advice as how to best get to this location, right? Or, you know, if it was way before then and I had heard about this place, you know, through the grapevine, I would just walk out and hope that I would find it. And I would probably have to walk a long time if in this conversation we've gone back far enough to where there's like no cars. But what I'm saying is there's many different ways for me to sort out physically how to get somewhere. And if you're new to this conversation of transformation, there's the whole world of getting to different places energetically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, right? And in my experience, there's about like 2 ways that you can get to somewhere you've never been. One is being shown how to get there, which is through the advent of stories, being guided through exercises, maybe meditation practices, classes, things such as that. And 2 is learning through direct experience, or as I lovingly like to refer to it as, is immersion.